If you're seeing this, it's because there's something calling you. There's something that life is calling out of you. There's a future self that's calling you to step into more of who you are. And so this is you receiving the call. And the thing is, you may or may not be aware of what exactly that call is, what it looks like, or what it means. But I think you feel it in some way. You know that there's something deeper that you desire to create or become or experience. There's more to it than just what you're familiar with. And so that's my intention with this video, is to help you uncover that calling and to, from my own direct experience, illuminate some of the things along the path to help you shift from where you are now to being in alignment with that calling. And ultimately to distill all of this down into the one key, one word that I feel encapsulates all of it, which is resolute. To be resolute, to be resolved. And the reason why I like this word so much is because it really covers all the bases of what is required, what is needed to align with that calling and to live true to that calling. And we are familiar with this word because it's what we hear around the time of New Year's Eve, right? We always talk about New Year's resolutions. And you're probably also familiar from your perhaps own experience, but also just from the overall kind of story, that usually these resolutions are motivated and excited and inspired for the first few days, and then they kind of wear off. And when you wanted to go to the gym, or you'd committed to a certain diet, or you wanted to change your habits, and then a week or two in, you kind of lost that spark. You kind of lost sight of it, and you no longer really stay committed. So that's illuminating one of the main distinctions that I want to make clear, is that a true resolution is a burning desire. It's not just wishful thinking. It's not just the thought like, that would be nice, right? It would be nice to have a fit body. It would be nice to feel healthy and eat healthily. Or it would be nice to have good habits that lead to abundance and connection and love and joy and cultivating this way of being, right? It's not enough to just have the thought that it would be nice. For the intention to live that resolution is the action, the feeling, the thought, the belief, everything that's needed in order for that to become an actual resolution. Because the true meaning of the word is to be so committed, so involved, so invested in that goal, that dream, that intention, that it is synonymous with your action. You see, that's the thing about resolution, is that it is the action of all of your being, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, and your actions. So when all of you is fully behind what you desire, that is resolve. That is to be resolute. And another aspect of this is that there are going to be challenges that come up, right? There are going to be seeming obstacles and difficult experiences and things that test your commitment, test your resilience, test your ability to focus and to see it through. And that's another really beautiful aspect of this term, resolute, is that it is the resilience, it is the steadfastness, the staying power, that is the demonstration of your commitment to what you desire. And so really all of this is fundamentally an energetic shift, because resolution starts with the decision, with the wholehearted, fully embodied feeling of getting behind your desire. That's essentially what desire is, right? It's born, it's inspired from the deepest place of who you are. And that's where I started this video. There is something within you that is called is being called out of you. It's calling you to step into more of who you are. And that's really where all of this begins, is to uncover that desire, to cultivate that resolution. And it has to begin with self-knowledge. You must know who you are in order to realize that desire, to feel that desire, and then to fully get behind the resolution of your being in the direction of that desire being fulfilled. And so, first things first, who are you? And any answer that comes to you immediately as I ask that question, I want you to just dismiss it. Just ignore it. Just let it go. Just allow it to come up, see it, and then release it. Whether it's your age, your name, your location, your history, your any experiences that you have, any memories that you have, any beliefs that you hold, any characteristics or attributes of who you think you are. When I say, who are you? Truly, who are you really? In a way, it's a kind of a rhetorical question. It doesn't really need an answer. That's why any answer that comes to you, you can just let it go. Allow yourself to be so immersed in the question that the question itself becomes the point, the source that consumes you. Right? We're so often looking for an answer. We're so often looking for a definitive something, a concept, an idea, something to figure out. But the key to this self-knowledge is to firstly go beyond all conceptions of yourself, to go beyond all ideas, all images, all limited definitions and labels as to who you think you are, who you've experienced yourself to be, and who you've become identified and attached to being. This is the essence of meditation, is to observe, purely observe, and to detach, right? To just be. And anything that comes up, anything that arises and passes, this or that, can just be allowed to float by. And so this is sort of cultivating a feeling. It's sort of coming in contact with the essence, the sense of pure I am. Because you see, anything that you define yourself to be or identify yourself as always begins with I am. I am this. I am my age. I am my gender. I am this name. I am fill in the blank. But what is the I am before the label? What is that most essential, fundamental quality of what you truly are? What is that life? What is that being? What is that consciousness that is conscious of any of those labels? Who is it that knows all of these concepts, all of the memories, all of the perceptions? Who is that you? Who is that timeless, limitless, boundless, formless being that is at the heart of everything that you experience yourself to be, everything you express yourself as, everything that you've perceived yourself as? That's what we're navigating to. That's what we are triangulating with this question, this contemplation. It's not really an answer. It's more of a marinating in the question itself. And so there is a sort of sense of I am, that pure perception. And that's the sweet spot, because that's where your true self resides. And in coming in contact with that presence of your true self as I am, I exist, no past, no future, just here, now, being. In that, there is the direct recognition of who you are, relatively speaking, as an individual, And that's like the template level. It is the blueprint level of your personality in this life. It is your core intentions, your true desires, your destiny in a way. And that has been set as an intention by your higher self, your true self. It's why you look the way you do. It's why you came into this world in the place that you did, with the family that you did. And you're kind of oriented to certain lessons and certain opportunities and certain directions in life. You have certain preferences and tastes, and right? It's the essence of who you are as an individual. And when you get beyond all of the sort of conditions and programs and beliefs that you've adopted from the world that are not truly yours, then you come in contact with that base level blueprint of who you are. You plug back in to that template of the possibility, of the potential of all that you can really be in this life. And so that's the starting point, is that self-knowledge. The knowledge to know that you are not, in truth, anything that you perceive, anything that you've experienced, anything at all. And yet, relatively speaking, as an individual, you are this designed, intentional being. And so it's right in between those two that you come in contact with the possibility, this calling that I'm referring to. And from there, that's where the resoluteness comes in. Because naturally, inherently, in the recognition of that calling, of that desire, is this conviction. It is this burning, earnest desire to realize it. And so in that sense, you don't even really need discipline or motivation, these external, artificial kind of stimulations. You have this internal, eternal, burning flame of that desire, which is coming from the deepest part of your being, of your soul. And that's the fuel. That's the fuel that leads to the resilience that is needed to stay, the staying power for everything that's going to come up along the way. And so this is where we come to the certain kind of strategies or prescriptions or tactics or certain like how to, right? This is very often the question that we ask is like, well, how do I do it? Or how do I get there? And I understand the sort of practicality of the question, but in this resoluteness, in being resolved to your desire, really that question of how dissolves. Because the how is the unfolding. How it will happen is how it will unfold. And you don't really need to know what that is beforehand. That's just part of the mind that's fearful and needing certainty and needing something to kind of grab onto and lean on, you know? But your true self is literally the unknown, which is what the mind fears. That way forward is just one step at a time where you don't even see the ground underneath that next step. You just trust, you just know. And purely based on your resolve, you know that it's going to unfold without knowing how or needing to know what's going to happen along the way. And so, yet that question is still practical. How? So the relatively practical how-tos that I've come to in my life is simply the aspects or the attributes of what is being called for within that resoluteness, which are certain habits, right? Certain protocols, certain commitments, right? These are the guiding posts. These are the supporting mechanism of you staying in alignment with your desire. And so when you tune into that version of you that exists in that reality, that lives in that world where your desire is already fulfilled, what are you doing? Right? Like, what are you actually doing? Because that's what you need to do now. Right? Like, are you waking up earlier than you are now? Are you going to bed earlier than you are now? Are you not spending so much time on social media or distracting yourself with media on your phone or devices? Are you prioritizing your health and well-being? Are you exercising? Are you moving? Are you meditating? Are you contemplating? Are you journaling? Are you reflecting on your days? Are you tracking your time? Because time is of the essence here. You have so much time. You have so much energy. And if it's being leaked in directions that are not serving your desire, then you are wasting that precious resource of your time and your energy. And so that version of you, that future self, it's not doing those things. So these are the habits and the protocols. These are the non-negotiables that must be adopted. They must be aligned with in your day-to-day activities in order for you to shift into that version of you, not only in action, but also in your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs fundamentally. So this requires contemplation. It requires investigation. It requires earnest, honest understanding of where you're out of alignment with that version of you and what you need to do, what's being called for in order for you to shift into that version of you, to realize and manifest that reality. So, first of all of this is available in my free alignment masterclass with a worksheet that you can use to reverse engineer all of these things, and a tracking sheet that you can list out your habits and protocols and you can track them for 30 days or longer. So if you want to have access to this, just comment creator down below and I'll send you a link where you can access all of these files and the meditations and visualizations and this whole masterclass where it all resides within. So these are the practical elements, the sort of guiding principles that you can set up to help you stay in alignment. And then there's also these kind of energetic boundaries, so to speak. I like to call them time and energy multipliers. And it also involves you informing your environment, redesigning your environment, communicating in your relationships to the effect of having your resolve known, right? So you don't need to necessarily tell them all the details of what you're going to do, because this is often bringing up doubt or setting unreasonable expectations, inviting people in and kind of nitpicking around and busybody kind of, sticking their nose into it. And that's not really helpful. That's not what this is about. This is about simply communicating your resolve. Just simply informing your environment, anyone that's around you, anyone that you work with, anyone, that things might be changing, right? Your attitude might be changing. Your focus might be different. The things that you're interested in might be changing. And otherwise, you might get some negative feedback from them. You might get some resistance from them. You might get some unwanted opinions or judgment from them. But if you just inform them up front, this is my choice, this is what I'm going to do, then at least the expectation is set that they can anticipate a different version of you showing up. And in fact, that's actually helpful because it reinforces your own sense of commitment to that. Every time you walk in and you meet this person who's expecting to see you, right? Acting different, thinking different, with a different way of being. That's one example of these sort of boundaries, energetic kind of boundaries that you can inform and set up. The other thing is to just redesign your environment. Start by cleaning up your environment. Start by rearranging things in your room or in your office or in your home, right? Make your environment congruent with your inner environment, which is now resolved. And if you walk into your room or your office and you see clutter, you see a mess, what you see is your own clutter, mental clutter, your own scatteredness, your own lack of resolve, because everything in your life is a reflection of everything internal. So make your external, your environment, your world, your rooms, a reflection of the space within you that you wish to cultivate and embody. So that's these energetic kind of boundaries and priorities that go so far to reinforcing that resolve. As a reflection, every time you walk into the room, you're reminded of what you're committed to, of who you're choosing to be. And that is motivating. It is inspiring. It is a reminder, a constant reminder of your commitment and resolve. That's a positive feedback loop, which brings positive energy back into your energy field. So these are some of the things that I have encountered along the way. And perhaps the final and maybe most important is to face everything with a kind of reverence and the resolve to see it as it is. For example, a trigger that you might encounter along the way that's kind of bringing you back into that old self, that old frequency, that old mindset, right? Something that has you reacting, right? Something that has you doubting or disbelieving or distrusting in yourself, right? It's that moment where you are faced with an old pattern or a memory or some kind of a seeming obstacle or challenge, which then has you questioning negatively yourself. And this is the beautiful opportunity that these catalysts, these opportunities present to you, is to inquire into who you have been, who you've been being, and the beliefs, the self-concept that is relating to that, and to uncover the essential quality of that self that is being triggered, right? That limiting belief, that sense of lack, that sense of unworthiness, that part of you that you judge, that part of you that you haven't accepted, that part of you that is not fully seen. That's the part of you that's just trying to play safe and stay in this familiar comfort zone. That's the part of you that's going to be kind of infiltrating and interfering from the background, trying to get you to just stay here. You know, it's foolish to try to change, to try to evolve, to try to achieve anything, right? It's silly. Like, what are they going to think, right? Like, you've tried it before, you've failed. It's all that internal dialogue of that old self that's going to just try to keep you where you are, where it's safe and secure and familiar. And that right there, that's the main obstacle. That's really the mother lode of all challenges, is just that old self. And so with compassion, with courage, you can face those triggers, those limiting beliefs, those heavy feelings, right? Those concepts of who you have become identified as, and meet them with reverence. Meet them with love, like you would your child if you have a child. Or if you don't, you can just imagine, this young, innocent, afraid being coming to you, and honestly, just in its vulnerability. And in that, you can meet that with this beautiful reverence and willingness, the availability to just allow it to have that moment. And yet, to hold that frequency of resolve. And I'm not going to let this deter me. I'm not going to let this undermine my desire. I'm not going to let this take me off of my game. And when you do it this way, that as I'm describing, it becomes wholly integrated. It becomes embodied, not just an overcoming, not just a momentary escape or avoidance or trying to bulldoze your way through it, but it becomes a really integrated approach to transcending your fears, your limiting beliefs, and your sense of lack and unworthiness, which is so normal, so natural for humans. It is the human condition. So don't pretend like it's not there. Face it boldly. Love it unconditionally, and transcend it totally and completely. And that's it. And so if you're interested in my free alignment masterclass, which walks you through this with videos and meditations and visualizations and this worksheet that I mentioned that helps you to stay on track with all of this, then comment creator down below and I'll send you a link where you can go through it today. And I wish you the best of luck in your desire and with your resolve to be who you truly are and to create the reality that you desire to live in.